This is an Eye on Annapolis bonus podcast.
We're here in I think it's called a YouTube studio at Rego Productions at 9 or 11. We're not quite sure of the address. Actually, I think it's both of them.
It's
at
both.
Lincoln Court, right off of Chinkapin Round Road. And we're in this great little room, which is used for a YouTube studio.
It is.
And we're sitting here with Lisa Sabrowski, who is now known as Lisa Lutz, I understand. Congratulations on the wedding.
Thank you.
And you are the brainchild or the demented person that came up with the idea, one of the two, depending on who
Ask my husband, I'd be demented, yes.
Of an initiative that is going now on, 3 years?
This is our third year.
Called #JustOneSweater. That's all big one string.
Yes.
And it is, I would say it's a nonprofit, but it's not a nonprofit yet.
Not yet.
But it's a great initiative. It's a community give back to those in need right here in our community. And there is, as COVID has shown us, there's such a need for any number of things, whether it be food or housing or clothing or just jobs or anything like that. So let's talk a little bit about Just One Sweater.
Okay. Thanks, John. So, yes, I'm the brainchild and the demented one. Little history on how this started. I was working in Kalamazoo, Michigan with a homeless shelter there and met a young gentleman, Samuel, who started when he was 10. And at this point, he was 15. I think he's now 17, who started collecting new blankets for the homeless. And Kalamazoo is one of the worst places you want to be homeless. It's freezing cold in the winter.
No. When anyone talks about Michigan, I have to put my hand up and put my thumb up and go, Upper Peninsula or Lower Peninsula?
No, it's the mainland yes, towards the lake. So,
but it's still damn cold.
It's freezing cold, freezing cold. And it's the kind of cold that makes your teeth freeze. And so I met Samuel and his mom, and I was really super impressed with what this kid was doing. And I came home, sat down on the couch, talked to Jim, my husband, and said, there's got to be something that we can do around here. And I said, I don't care if it's just one sweater. And I was like, wait, that's it. Just one sweater. So that's where the concept came from. First year, we're like, okay, we'll put it out there, just one sweater, and we'll collect here at the house and see what happens. Well, we collected, I think it was over 500 sweaters.
Oh my word.
I thought, okay, we've got some traction here. We sorted, we delivered. The idea and the goal here, John, is that we collect the sweaters, hoodies, fleece, and they're gently used or cleaned, preferably new, if possible, right? The idea is that we give those that we are giving to the opportunity to look through and shop. So the first year we set up at the Lighthouse Shelter during a community lunch, and we had big tables set up, men's, women's, children's, and it was wonderful. It was so heartwarming. They were so excited. And seriously, these are people that are living, could be on the streets, could be in a tent, under the bridge, who knows, families that just don't have anything. And it was very heartwarming. So I said, you know what, we're going to do this again. Fast forward, last winter, COVID.
That's round 2 dementia.
Yeah, round two
demented.
Demented, yes. Round 2 demented. My husband's like, are you sure you want to do this? I said, well, what else are we going to do? It's COVID. Okay, we're COVID honeymoon. It's like, we're going to do something. And we ended up, it exploded. We had, I think, over 30 places collecting last year. We collected over 8,000 sweaters.
Whoa. Back up. How many?
8,000.
You went from about 500
to 8,000.
To 8,000.
So talk about a logistics nightmare.
Oh, wow.
I ended up having to rent a storage unit because, like you said, I'm not a 501c3. My brother is saying, he's the attorney, smart one in the family. He said, let's do this for a couple years and then decide if you really, truly want to continue it and turn it into a 501c3. So 8,000 sweaters, COVID, and we couldn't have people come and look through, right? So I'm thinking this is going to be a logistics nightmare. Fortunately, Christy Neidhart took me up to Walk the Walk Foundation, showed me how they do their, the whole process, distribution and collection and sorting. Sorting is a huge issue. Bumper Moyer at Pitt Moyer, the rec center, was gracious enough to let us we took up an entire basketball court. And we had family members, volunteers coming in. College hunks helped and donated a truck and some big guys, college hunks, to move
bonus for you.
Yes, bonus from my storage unit to Pitt Moyer, and then help me distribute. So we distributed to Feed Anne Arundel and all the organizations in town, Asbury Methodist, Heritage, Eastport Methodist Church, all the places that were doing food pantries and giveaway. The problem was because of COVID, and at the time nobody knew if COVID stuck to material, we literally individually bagged and sorted and labeled the bags and sprayed them down with this stuff called Garmagard that I had seen on Shark Tank that was developed by a fireman and a nurse that supposedly killed germs. So that was last year. And I was like, I don't know, can we do this again? Well, everybody started asking me in September, hey, when's Just One Sweater going to start? I was like, oh yeah, we need to get that started.
So apparently it's caught on.
It's caught on. It's crazy. So right now we have about 20 drop-off locations in Anne Arundel County. We have branched out. Last year, we also did Howard County. The Howard County Board of Realtors partnered with us, and everything they collected went to a program that helps incarcerated prisoners who are just getting out of jail to have warm sweaters and coats. And then somebody in Michigan is doing it for me, and also Pennsylvania. So, I mean, obviously the goal would be to do it wherever it's cold across the country would be amazing. But right now we're focused on this winter.
You know, my mind is a little bit blown, and I guess this is my ignorance in not realizing the need that we have here. When you say, now you collected 8,000 sweaters, were they, or in hoodies and fleeces and different things like that, but were they all distributed?
Oh yeah, I didn't have anything left. Yeah. So what happened was we would go every time there was a pantry. We had volunteers help to distribute. So we would leave. So
somebody's coming to pick up food. They can also pick up
sweaters. Yes, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So we gave out 2,500. Rotary helped me, and Christy Neidhart helped at Tyler Heights, and we gave out 2,500 in one day. So that helped a lot. And then we were in Annapolis Gardens, Bay Ridge Gardens, all of the food pantries. I mean, it was a lot last year. This year I kind of got smarter, right? And I'm asking my sweater getters, if you will, to collect, but then pre-sort for me, making sure that they go through it. Like, we don't give anything away that's stained or has holes
in it.
I mean, you should see some of the things we did come across, but
I see jeans online that brand new for $300 that have holes in them.
I know. Yeah, you pay extra for the holes, but not in this stuff.
Not in the sweater.
We wanted them to have some dignity to
there's a sense of pride.
There is a sense of pride. And, you know, I think the big thing is everybody's got a sweater in their closet that you haven't worn in, 5, 10. We love vintage. 5, 10, or, the last year.
You're probably going to get a whole bunch because everybody gained that COVID 25 or 30 over the last year.
I don't know what happened last year, but we are prepared if we do hit that number again. We're extremely grateful for everybody donating and cleaning out their closets. One of the fun things that happened last year that's going to happen again this year, my neighborhood, Hunt Meadow, did a Not So Ugly Sweater virtual run because it was COVID. I think they'll do it in person this time, but registration was actually a sweater. And so all the kids, so we did get a lot of kids. St. Mary's Elementary School collected probably, I'm going to say 1,500 kids things. Yeah.
What is the need and what are you collecting? I mean, I did my part. I brought in just
it's brand new with a tag.
One new sweater.
Just one sweater. Yes, thank you very much.
I didn't bring two. I just brought one.
Right.
Because that's the rules.
It is the rules.
Just one sweater. But I mean, that double X sweater that I just brought in is not going to fit little Timmy in first grade. Is the need for kids... adults
it's amazing. So it runs the gamut. As a result of last year, we ended up partnering pretty strongly with Eastport Methodist Church. I have a strong connection growing up in Eastport, and my son went to Eastport Early Learning Center.
Next door to the firehouse, right?
Exactly. And they have now been very gracious to give me storage space and space to sort in the basement. And I've kind of taken them under our wing. So when we did have extra, like we were out in the middle of February and March, still had our tables set up. And if we're outside, we can set, the clothes out. I don't have a problem this year with that, so they can shop. I don't think that COVID, I'm not a medical doctor, but I don't think it sticks to the clothing outside.
Again, we talk about the need here in Anne Arundel County and Maryland and in the larger world in America. It's so great. And I go back to a conversation I had with the gentleman that ran the Salvation Army several years ago. And this is one of my aha moments that opened my eyes. I said, I just happened to notice this guy rolled up in this year-old, maybe $90,000 to $120,000 Benz, went down into your basement food pantry and came out with a thing of, what's the deal with that?
Right.
And he said, that's a very legitimate question. And we don't ask any questions. If you want to come in and you want to get food, you're welcome to do it.
Sure.
And that's what a lot of the giving is based on in Anne Arundel County in general.
It really, truly is.
And then he said, but I will expand on this and tell you, because I do know who you're talking about and I do know what their situation is. They were a very we'll say a well-to-do family. They weren't struggling. It was a stay-at-home mom that hadn't been working. Father had a significant job and lost it. Oh. And it's temporary. I know that he's going to be getting. This was all before COVID, and I think he may have been in the 2008 recession or whatever. But he said, they're going to be fine in the long run. But right now,
they need a helping hand.
At the end of the day, they're looking at their checkbook, saying, "Do we pay the mortgage?" Which is it is a nice house. It's but does that make sense based on a temporary situation?
Sure.
And he said, so it comes down to then, do we scrimp on the grocery bills and be able to pick up $50 worth of stuff at the pantry for 3 weeks a month?
Right. So, and I have had a lot of experience. Obviously, I worked with the Lighthouse Shelter for, I think, 12 years and working out at the homeless shelter in Kalamazoo. And you really do get to see a whole different storyline, right? We live in this gorgeous city. We live on the Chesapeake Bay, and, you turn a corner and you see people in need. So if I can help somebody or make somebody's winter warmer with just one sweater, we're going to do it. I've seen kids show up in February, snow's on the ground, we're all freezing cold, and 3 little girls came up to the table and they literally were in Crocs with no socks, pants that didn't fit them, and they needed coats. So we do say no coats, please, only because I was running out of room. We had 1,500 coats last year, and I encourage everybody to donate those to Admiral Cleaners because they do a call for coats and they clean them and they can get them to the right spot. And there's some other organizations that we give coats to.
Well, I would also think with sweaters and fleeces and hoodies and stuff like that, you can also layer.
Yes,
as well.
Exactly.
So that's,
Exactly.
And you'd mentioned the Lighthouse, and we spoke with Joanne Matson not too long ago, and she's
one of my favorite people.
She's wonderful. But Lisa and I have done breakfast on Christmas morning for not the last. Have we been off 2 years?
We've been off 2 years.
No,
1 year.
We did 19. We did 19.
We did
that was
19
before COVID.
right
20
before
was
COVID.
Off. 21.
Yes.
Is coming up.
Correct.
So we'll see what happens. But this was something
I was thinking about that actually this week, thinking because I've realized there's not much time before the holidays and whether we'll be able to get back in there. I hope.
Well, fingers crossed that we are, because it is such a thing. And I will credit that serving breakfast to the residents of the Lighthouse on Christmas morning. There's gifts, and it's as celebratory as you possibly can be given the situation.
Yeah. How long have you been part of our Christmas breakfast group?
I don't know, probably 10 years or so. I mean, my kids are all flown and grown at this point, and they like, hey, are we doing this?
Right.
Okay. I mean, before it was like, let's get in and tear into the gifts when they were little. Now it's like, we can wait for that.
So I started that.
Let's go do it.
I went back about probably 12 years ago. My son is born on Christmas Day. And so I thought, what a great thing. Before you do get into ripping things open and whatnot, let's go give back first. And he still comes home, even though he's married with a baby, and yes, I'm a grandmother, he still comes home for it. And it means a lot to our family.
Well, just a story out of that Christmas morning that has stuck with me, and I'll say my middle child, my daughter, she works as an investigator with Child Protective Services for the state of North Carolina. She's
wonderful.
Currently doing human trafficking and sex crimes, which is sort of a bizarre thing. But I never would have pictured her in that career as a kid. I mean, I didn't know where she was going, but that would have been the last thing I would have ever pictured her doing. One Christmas morning at the lighthouse, she's slinging hash or potatoes from Stan and Joe's, which always makes it great.
Oh my gosh, so good.
And it's like, and you do get into a habit. It's like, Merry Christmas. How do you want potatoes? And you're not really looking necessarily. So she's
wait, before you go any further, John is the sausage king. Need to clarify.
Sausage king of Hudson Street. Absolutely.
The sausage king of Hudson Street. And he has an apron to prove it.
I did get into words with that one woman one year when she tried to horn in on my sausage. Yes. I told her to buzz off, and she's like, well,
I'll just move over here to fruit salad.
That's right. Go and do some of that.
Do something else.
This is the man's realm over here with the sausage.
He's very territorial on his sausages, yes.
But Victoria slammed, some potatoes onto a plate, handed it over the counter, and looked up and was face to face with a classmate in high school.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's powerful.
And the look on her face and her classmate's face.
How come I'm just hearing this story?
Was
it gives me
just
chills.
Like, pardon the language, but like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And then it's like, what are you doing here? And the other one's going, what are you doing here? And they didn't have this. It was just like this look in the eyes. And we talked about it that morning when we got home. And she said, what was the deal? I said, I don't know what the deal is. I said, but as a young kid, I mean, we don't expose our kids to some of the stuff, but we try to protect them and raise them in the bubbles and stuff like that. I said, there are so many people, and I will include myself among this, that are just, maybe 1, 2, or 3 paychecks away.
Right.
From being in that line on Christmas morning.
Right. And that's one thing too. Eastport Methodist Church, they do a pantry on the 3rd Thursday of every month. And they do go up to the food bank. Yes, my husband now he's like, I never even knew what the word philanthropy meant. But but he goes with the guys and they get the food from the food pantry. But they call that the lot for love, like the parking lot for love. And nobody's turned away.
Yeah.
Right? And we've been able to, because I don't know. My brother always says, oh, you're the connector of the dots. But we've brought in Ethan's buddies, my friend Lynn from high school, who now does a market there. And she's a huge sweater getter up in our Broadneck, Arnold area. And what I love to do, and Sven from Storm Brothers, he brings 40 dozen eggs every month for us. And Dangerously Delicious Pies brings hundreds of pies. And,
all right, let's talk about Sven for a little bit, okay? He is like the downtown business curmudgeon.
Yes. He's going to kill you for talking about him.
There is a guy that if you were to take his heart out of his body, there's no way in hell it would even fit in his store because he's got a big heart.
So you know about his deal with going to South America?
No.
Oh, yeah, no. See, he goes down to Honduras all the time and he feeds people. And then he's got this farm on the Eastern Shore and he's got these, he's amazing.
There's a guy that does the philanthropy. I mean, he's not looking for the big check presentation, everything else. And he is paid for significant portions of dozens of his employees that have gone through there to go to college when they're having that's the kind of philanthropy that I love to see. Somebody that's just doing it very quietly.
Right.
It's
and that's the thing with Jim and I, like, we didn't want to do this for like exposure or marketing tool. Sometimes people do that, it's like, oh, this was just because we realized there's a need. It's an easy way to give back, right? And really make a difference with these people. And now I know them all. And I'll be going through a bag and I'm like, oh wait, Sam from Eastport Methodist, that would fit him and that would look really good on him. So I'll bag it up for him and give it to him. So
and again, and I don't think there's anything wrong with doing it for, so we'll say some marketing or promotional things.
Right.
I mean, but as long as the reason that you're doing it is for the right reason, not for self-promotion.
Self-promotion.
If you get it out of there. And you threw a term out there, sweater getter. You should really make like polos.
I have sweater.
For your people to say, I'm a sweater getter or something like that. That's a great little.
Thanks. So it's trademarked. No, just kidding. I do have shirts that say just one sweater.
Well, and your background is marketing too.
My background is, Yes. The giving back portion of my world started at a very young age because my mom was the development director for Chesapeake, Hospice of the Chesapeake for like 15 years. So I was brought in at a very young age, and she did the marketing for the Seafood Festival, which started as like a chili cook-off in even at O'Leary's before that.
Okay.
Like, yeah, we're 4 generations from Annapolis, been around a long time. So I was brought into that whole giving back feeling, like that you should give back if you can, even though we always complain, it's like, oh no, not another gala. Like, what, I have to fold 300 napkins? How? Right? So we started at a very young age of learning that there are people in need and wanting to give back.
Well, good. And your company is Latitude 38.
Latitude 38.
Not to be confused with the restaurant on City Dock.
No, but
or the restaurant over on the Eastern Shore.
Thanks for checking in. What can we clarify that? It's L'_attitude 38 degrees is my company. I went from my mom had a PR agency here in town, Prendergast and Associates. So when I got out of college, it was natural that I would go to work for her. Well, don't work for family members, people. I love my mom to death. And we used to fight like cats and dogs.
I want to kill her.
Well, the funny story was one day she's like, I said, I can't do this anymore. I quit. And she's like, you're fired. I was like, you can't fire me. You're my mom. So I went on to, at the time we were buying cable advertising for our medical clients that we were working with. And I ended up going into selling cable, stayed in the industry for 25 years. And it was great. TV advertising, sales and marketing. And then in 2009, I had sold my soul to corporate for long enough. And I was very grateful to have been able to provide for my son and whatnot. And I was like, I'm going to do this on my own. And so fast forward, here we are, Latitude 38. And, we do a lot of strategic marketing. We do it all. But, and then a wonderful collaboration with Rigo Productions to tie in video, social media and whatnot. So
for those who aren't familiar with Rigo Productions, when the tornado blew through here,
oh my gosh,
and we had some drone footage. Tori Rigo is the one that sent it to me. Said, "Here, use that."
Yeah, that was a really crazy day. So we had a pre-production planning meeting for the Maryland Board of Realtors live stream, huge event we were getting ready to do that week, and we had our Rigo team. We had our AV team, Chesapeake AV, Les. I don't know if you know Les, but he's a great guy. So he's there. We finish up at 2. It was 2:00 that day. They go to Chris's charcoal pit to go get lunch. We're here. All of a sudden, phones are going off. There's a tornado warning. Les decides to get his sandwich to go. So he leaves. He didn't even realize that Chris's was 24 minutes later was gone. We all run outside with our cell phones, even though it says shelter in place.
Right.
What does a video production company do? We all run outside, and Tori grabs the drone, which I thought was going to get lost. He couldn't land it. And then I have video of Tori going, Tori, what do you do when your phone goes off and says shelter in place? It's like, we get the drone out.
See how bad
it is.
Small price
but
to
it's
pay.
not. It's amazing. That was crazy. But anyway, they're very supportive of my Just One Sweater as well. We have a bin here. We have about 20 points of collection right now.
Well,
so sweater getters, yes.
I'm looking at a flyer here. And again, you're not, at this point, as a non-501c3, you're not looking for...
Is there like a thing I can sign up for to be a non-501c3? Yeah, that'd be great.
You are. It's a hashtag.
I will tell you that Christy Neidhart and the Howard County Board of Realtors were both very generous last year to help pay for some storage, because it does get expensive when you have to, bag everything. And Grouse did give me a great rate on paper bags, but
for right now, to help out Just One Sweater, you're not looking for somebody to write a big check,
no,
because you wouldn't know what to do with it, and it wouldn't be tax deductible, so and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So you are looking for literally just one sweater.
Just one sweater. So, and I will tell you that people have been very generous with. I've already started running around and picking stuff up. Sherwood Forest location. I have to go.
I'm looking here, the list, and I know this does grow as the season goes on.
Right. So new this year, which is really exciting, is Annapolis Subaru, Volvo Cars Annapolis, and Annapolis Hyundai. They're all collecting. They're new this year. Spring Arbor of Severna Park is new. And then Riva Sherwood Forest, Arundel on the Bay. Bubby's Closet is a friend of mine, and she is a legit 501c3. She collects in honor of her mom, children's and mom's items. So she's collecting. Germantown is new. And then the list is growing. Yep.
And the best place to learn more about this is on Facebook.
It is. I don't have a website. Can you believe it? I make websites for clients and I haven't even made myself one.
We'll figure it.
It's one of those Dr. Heal Thyself thing.
Yeah.
You're like, I just don't have the time.
No. And this is very simple. You can just
I really don't want to complicate it and make it into like this. I'm kind of at that fork right now. As my brother said, do it for a couple of years, see if you really want to turn it into a 501c3, because he's worried about how much time I spend on it and all this other stuff.
You've got some more complications with that too.
You do.
This is very simple.
It is very simple.
Give it to me and I'll give it away.
And if you do want to be a sweater getter, this year I bought these cool cardboard boxes and you can just put it out in your business. I do provide plastic bins with a sign on it for your front porch. Just did a pickup in Riva on Thursday, and it was 10 bags already. And so this year I got smart. I said, sweater getters have to sort for me. And they were all sorted and labeled. I was like, oh my gosh, this is the first. Like, I was so happy.
Right. Sure.
Right. Because sorting takes a long time. And we did end up with a lot of baby clothes last year. So that kind of was in its separate pile. And they're great too. So we took those to Chrysali's house last year.
Right.
So we will find people that need them if you give them to us too.
Fantastic. Well, again, Facebook is where you want to go. You can just search Just One Sweater. And the real name is hashtag Just One Sweater. It's all one word. There's no spaces in there. Right. That's the branding marketing aspect of Lisa that's coming out there. There is a list of all the different places that you can donate. And again, it's not a big thing. You just roll up, drop it off, and take off.
Right. And if you do decide that you have like a lot, like I had a gentleman last year whose wife had passed away and she handmade, I'm telling you, he must have donated 200 handmade sweaters and his wife had just passed away. And he's like, I wanted to sell them or consign them, but I saw your flyer and would you come and pick them up? And we will come pick up. So yeah,
not a problem there. Well, when can we donate?
Now,
because I just dropped one off.
Yes, you did. Thank you very much. With a tag. I love it. So our issue last year was that we didn't cut it off. I was like so excited. Like they just kept coming. My husband's like, is there a cutoff date? Yeah. And I was like, they're not really. But this year we're going to try to collect through mid-November. I'd probably say end of November so that we can get these out. Now, I already have some that we're starting to distribute because it's starting to get colder. So I'm not a hoarder.
Right.
Well, I'm not a sweater hoarder. We'll
talk to your husband on that a little bit later. Yeah, talk to him about that.
I am not a hoarder. But I do have my son's like little baby clothes, right?
Right.
So, okay. Maybe a little hoarder. Now through November, I would say, so that we can get them out for the holiday season. It's starting to get cold, and just making somebody's winter warmer.
Well, if nothing else, the folks that are listening to this, just think about those that have something a little bit less than what you may have.
Right.
And everybody has a sweater that is too big for them, or in like my closet, too small for me.
Or you don't wear it anymore.
You don't wear it anymore. Hoodies, fleeces, those all are great things. And it will go so far to keep the folks that are housing insecure, or just, financially insecure at this point, because we are living in really challenging times. Just make their winter a little bit better. And
we really appreciate it. We really do.
Facebook, Just One Sweater is where you want to go. Lisa Sabrowski, Lisa Lutz.
Lisa Lutz.
It's just
drop the Sabrowski. It's Lisa Lutz. But on my flyer, I haven't changed.
Although on the flyer it does say Sabrowski.
Okay, so yes, it's Lisa Lutz, but I'm transitioning, if you will.
I guess it's tough to go from like a 12-letter last name to a 4-letter last name.
Yeah, yes. But Lisa Lutz, that's it.
But thank you very much. And if you've got any questions, you can email her at L38marketing, which is that El Attitude.
It's not the restaurant. But thanks for checking in and letting me know that the crab soup's good.
But L38marketing@gmail.com is an email address. You can download the flyer off of the Facebook page as well.
I'll change it to Lisa Lutz, though, as soon as we leave here.
Go through the closets. Throw a sweater into the back of your car, in the front of your car, in your trunk of your car. And next time you're around anywhere in Annapolis, Arnold, Edgewater, Odenton, Severna Park, Riva, it's all over the county. Drop it off. And
also let us know if you know somebody that's in need. You know, if there's an organization that you partner with or a church that does a pantry, we're happy to share the sweaters.
Hey, we can drop off.
Yep. If you tell me 50, somebody called last year and Mount Zion needed 50 men's large sweaters, we're happy to do that.
Fantastic.
Thanks, John.
We'll close it out with just 3 words. Just one sweater.
Just one sweater.
This has been a bonus podcast from Ion Annapolis. Please visit us at ionannapolis.net. Follow us on Facebook at All Annapolis and on Twitter at Ion Annapolis. And if you haven't subscribed to the Daily News Brief podcast, go for it. And all of your local news will be delivered to your phone, tablet, or smart device by 6 a.m. every Monday through Friday.